The season of waiting. Have you ever felt like you're waiting in a pit, forgotten and abandoned? Like you're experiencing spiritual 2-year-old fits, struggling with emotions that feel too big for your soul? If so, you're not alone. Today, we're going to dive deep into what I call the sacred season of waiting, a time that every believer must walk through, but few truly understand. The heart of waiting. Let me share something with you that might change how you see your current season. When I was going through my own time of intense spiritual struggle, having what I honestly called my 2-year-old fits, I felt like I was falling apart. I was wrestling with prophetic words, questioning if God was calling me to leadership, and fighting fears that people would see me as manipulative or self-serving. But then the Lord showed me something profound. He led me to the story of Joseph, and suddenly everything began to make sense. Joseph, the master class in waiting. Joseph's story isn't just about a dreamer who became a ruler. It's about what happens in the pit, literally and figuratively. When Joseph was finally called up from prison, they had to clean him and shave him. Can you imagine what condition he was in? This wasn't just physical preparation, it was symbolic of the deep transformation that happens during seasons of waiting. Joseph didn't know he was preparing for greatness. He was just surviving. He was just being faithful in the small things. But here's what's beautiful. While he was in prison, he was actively developing his gifts. He was interpreting dreams, administering the prison, learning to lead from the bottom up. The scripture tells us that those who sow with tears shall reap in joy. Joseph was sowing in tears, not knowing that his harvest was coming. The forgotten to remembered pattern. There's a spiritual principle that runs through scripture. You can't be remembered unless you're first forgotten. Joseph was forgotten by the baker and the cupbearer. He was forgotten by everyone except God, and that's exactly where God wanted him. When we're forgotten by man, we're remembered by God. When we're invisible to the world, we're visible to heaven. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. David, favored but hunted. David's story follows the same pattern. Even after he was anointed king, he spent years running from Saul, hiding in caves. But the favor of God on David's life actually caused him to be hunted. His blessing became his burden. But during those years of running, David was learning warfare. He was learning strategy. He was learning to depend on God alone. He was writing psalms that would comfort believers for thousands of years to come. The favor of God doesn't always look like favor to the world. Sometimes it looks like persecution. Sometimes it looks like being misunderstood. Sometimes it looks like being hunted by the very people you were called to serve. Moses, the 40-year preparation. Moses spent 40 years in the desert, not knowing he was being prepared to lead Israel out of Egypt. He was just tending sheep, learning to be a shepherd, not realizing he was learning to shepherd God's people. Moses forgot his